I spent 17 years on the other side of that window. I've asked that exact question. Do you know why I pulled you over? Probably 1,000 times, and I need to tell you something most cops will never admit on camera. That question is not curiosity. It is not small talk. It is a trap, and it's built into the training manual on purpose. I'm Dylan Carter, retired law enforcement, and today I'm walking you through the exact wrong answers that hurt people every single day, the one sentence that flips the entire power dynamic back to you, and the mistake I made myself for years from the wrong side of the badge. Let's get into it. When an officer walks up to your window and asks, "Do you know why I pulled you over?" they already know the answer. They saw the violation. They ran your plate before they even got out of the car. This question isn't for their information. It's for yours. Every word you say after that question gets written down. Some departments even have it on body cam audio specifically because prosecutors love a confession that comes wrapped in casual conversation. I trained rookies on this. The instruction was simple. Ask the open-ended question first before you tell them the violation, because 9 times out of 10, the driver will admit to something, sometimes the exact thing you pulled them over for, and sometimes something worse. I know, I was probably going a little fast, just handed the officer a speeding admission. I think my registration might be expired, just told the officer to run a deeper check they weren't planning on running. It sounds harmless. It feels polite. It is neither. This isn't a rogue tactic from one bad cop. It's standard interview technique taught in academies across the country. Because it works. It works because most people are wired to fill silence. The second there's a pause, we rush to explain ourselves, even when we've done nothing wrong. That instinct is exactly what this question is designed to exploit. Most people think a traffic stop is about the ticket. It almost never is, not entirely. In my time on patrol, and in nearly every department's own training, a routine traffic stop is treated as an investigative opportunity. The tail light, the rolling stop, the expired tag, that's the legal reason to make contact. But once that window rolls down, the officer is also scanning for anything else: nervous behavior, inconsistent stories, smell, visible items, how you're gripping the wheel. This isn't a conspiracy theory. It's Fourth Amendment case law. Courts have repeatedly upheld that an officer can use a minor traffic violation as the legal basis to approach and then develop what's called reasonable suspicion for something bigger, based entirely on what happens in that conversation. So when that question comes, you're not just being asked about a taillight. You're being evaluated. Your tone, your answer, your eye contact, all of it becomes part of the officer's assessment of whether this stop stays simple or escalates. Here's the thing almost nobody tells you. You have zero legal obligation to help an officer build that assessment. You are required to provide license, registration, and insurance in most states. You are required to be polite and non-threatening for your own safety. You are not required to narrate your own guilt. I want to be clear about something. This isn't about disrespecting officers or making a stop harder than it needs to be. Most cops are just trying to get through their shift safely and go home to their families, same as you're trying to get to yours. This is about knowing where politeness ends and self-incrimination begins, because those two things get blurred on purpose. Let's talk about the 4 answers I heard constantly on patrol, answers that felt smart or cooperative in the moment, but actually made things dramatically worse. Wrong answer, number 1, guessing the violation. Was it my speed? Did I run that light? If you guess wrong, you've just admitted you were doing something else you weren't stopped for. If you guess right, you've confessed. There is no version of guessing that helps you. Wrong answer number 2, over-explaining. I'm so sorry. I was rushing because my kid has a doctor's appointment and I've had the worst morning. This feels human. It also hands the officer a timeline, a motive, and often contradictions if you get flustered, and inconsistent statements are one of the biggest red flags officers are trained to catch. Wrong answer number 3, and the one that hurts people the most, getting defensive or arguing the law on the spot. You can't stop me for that, or that's not even illegal. Even when you're technically right about the law, arguing it during the stop escalates tension, raises the officer's guard, and turns a 2-minute stop into a 20-minute one, sometimes into a call for backup. The side of the road, mid-stop, is never the courtroom. You win that argument later, in front of a judge, with a lawyer, not on the shoulder of the highway with your hazards on. Wrong answer number 4. Dead silence with visible hostility. Refusing to speak at all, staring straight ahead, treating the officer like the enemy. This one doesn't get you charged with anything extra most of the time, but it does something almost as damaging. It raises the officer's threat assessment. And a raised threat assessment changes everything about how the rest of the stop goes, including whether you get asked to step out of the vehicle. So if guessing is bad, over-explaining is bad, arguing is bad, and stone-cold silence is bad, what's actually left? Here it is. Memorize this. I'm not sure. Can you tell me what the violation is? Every word here is doing something specific. I'm not sure is true almost universally. Even if you have a guess, you genuinely don't know the officer's stated reason until they tell you, and it commits you to nothing. It's not a lie, it's not a confession, it's just accurate. Can you tell me what the violation is? Does 3 things at once. First, it's polite and cooperative. It doesn't escalate anything. Second, it puts the burden back where it legally belongs, on the officer, to state the reason for the stop. Third, and this is the part almost nobody realizes, it creates a clean, recorded moment where the officer has to articulate the legal basis for stopping you. That statement gets locked into the body cam audio and the report. If there's ever a dispute later about why you were stopped, that moment matters. I used this exact framing when I trained new officers on how experienced drivers, attorneys, other cops, people who'd been through this before, handled the stop. And I'll tell you honestly, those stops were almost always shorter, calmer, and ended with a warning more often than the stops where someone guessed wrong or got defensive. Tone matters as much as the words. Flat, curious, non-confrontational, not sarcastic, not challenging. You're not trying to catch the officer in something. You're simply declining to volunteer information you're not required to give in the most disarming way possible. Now let's talk about the first 10 seconds of a stop, because officer safety training drills one thing into every rookie. Hands are the threat indicator. Not your face, not your tone, your hands. Pull over promptly, in a safe, well-lit spot if possible. Roll your window all the way down before the officer reaches your car. Turn on your interior dome light if it's nighttime. It signals cooperation instantly. Keep your hands on the wheel, visible, until asked otherwise, because visible hands are the single fastest way to lower an officer's alert level, and a lower alert level means a shorter, calmer stop for you. If you need to reach for your license or registration, and it's in the glove box or a bag, say it out loud before you move. My registration is in the glove box, I'm going to reach for it now. That single sentence, narrating your own movement, is something I wish every driver knew. It costs you 2 seconds, and it eliminates almost all ambiguity about what your hands are doing. Now here's where I've watched more people give away their rights than at any other point in a traffic stop. Do you mind if I take a look in your vehicle? This question sounds like a formality. It is not. It is a request for consent, and consent is the single most powerful legal tool an officer has because it bypasses the need for a warrant entirely. Without your consent, an officer generally needs probable cause or a warrant to search your vehicle. With your consent, none of that matters. You've just handed over every protection the Fourth Amendment gives you, voluntarily, on the side of the road. Here's the sentence, memorize this one too. I don't consent to searches. Said calmly, once, clearly. Not shouted, not repeated 5 times, not argued about. One clean statement. You can follow it with, am I free to go? If the stop seems to be wrapping up. I need to be honest about something here, saying this will not always stop a search. If an officer has independent probable cause, something they can see, smell, or that comes back on a records check, they can search regardless of your consent. But refusing consent means that if a search happens anyway, it has to be legally justified on its own, on the record, not justified by your permission. That distinction matters enormously if this ever ends up in front of a judge. I watched dozens of cases fall apart in court because a defendant consented to a search that turned out to be the entire basis for the case. Their attorney had almost nothing to work with because the consent made the search automatically legal, full stop. Now let me tell you about the mistake I made myself for years before I understood how this looked from the other side of the badge. For years early in my career, I genuinely believed that drivers who asserted their rights, who declined to answer, who refused a search, who asked clarifying questions, were probably hiding something. It's baked into a lot of training culture, subtly, the assumption that an innocent person has nothing to fear from full cooperation. That assumption is wrong, and it took me years and a lot of conversations with defense attorneys, and honestly with my own adult kids, to unlearn it. Here's what I eventually understood. The Fourth and Fifth Amendments don't exist because the founders assumed guilty people would use them. They exist because innocent people get charged with things too. Memories are unreliable, casual statements get twisted, and the system needs friction built in, specifically so that police power has limits, even when the officer standing there has good intentions. I want you to hear this directly from someone who wore the uniform. Asserting your rights, politely and calmly, is not suspicious. It is not obstruction. It is not going to make an honest officer's day harder in any way that matters. If anything, it tells a good cop that they're dealing with someone who's informed, and frankly, those stops tend to go smoother, not worse, because there's less ambiguity for either side. Calm, informed, and clear. That's the entire formula. Now, let's talk about the most important sentence in this entire video, one that comes up in a huge percentage of stops. Am I being detained, or am I free to go? Legally, at any point during a police encounter, you're in one of two states: detained, meaning the officer has some legal basis to hold you there, or free to go, meaning the encounter is voluntary and you can leave. The problem is, in the moment, it's almost never clear which one you're in, and officers are not required to volunteer that information. That's why you ask directly. If the officer says you're free to go, the encounter is over. You can leave calmly without another word. If the officer says you're being detained, that response itself becomes important, because now they've had to commit, on record, to the fact that this is a legal detention, which means they need articulable reasons for it. A huge number of encounters that end badly for people happen because the interaction dragged on in a legal grey zone, neither clearly over nor clearly a detention, and the person kept talking, kept answering, kept cooperating, well past the point where they were free to leave and simply didn't know it. This question ends the ambiguity in 10 words. It costs you nothing to ask. Now, once the stop is over, here's what almost nobody does, and what every attorney I've ever talked to wishes people did automatically. Write it down immediately, not later that night, immediately in the car, before you drive off if it's safe to do so. Time, location, the officer's name and badge number if you got it, exactly what was said, and exactly what you said back. Memory degrades fast, and inconsistencies between your account and theirs are exactly what gets used against you if this ever becomes a legal dispute. If you have dashcam footage, preserve it right away. Some dashcams overwrite footage within days or even hours. If a citation was issued, read every line before you sign. In most states, signing a citation is not an admission of guilt, it's an acknowledgement that you received it. But know your state's specific language, because a small number of jurisdictions treat it differently. If anything about the stop felt like it crossed a line, an unreasonable search, excessive force, a rights violation, document it in detail while it's fresh. Filing a formal complaint and pursuing a legal remedy are two different tracks. A complaint goes to the department. A legal claim goes through an attorney. Sometimes you need both. Here's the one thing I want you to actually remember 6 months from now, long after you've forgotten the exact wording of any sentence in this video. Calm and informed beats cooperative and clueless every single time. Not aggressive, not confrontational, not treating every officer like an adversary before they've given you a reason to. Just calm, clear, and aware of exactly where your obligations end and your rights begin. You are required to provide your license, registration, and insurance. You are required to comply with lawful orders during a stop for everyone's safety. You are not required to answer investigative questions, guess at your own violations, consent to searches, or fill every silence with an explanation. If this video gave you something you didn't know a few minutes ago, that's the whole point of this channel. I've got more of these breakdowns, real scenarios, real language, straight from someone who spent almost 2 decades on the other side of that window. And I'd rather you learn it here, calmly, than learn it the hard way on the side of a road somewhere. Subscribe if you want the next one. Drop a comment with a traffic stop question you've always wondered about. I read every single one. Stay calm out there. Know exactly what to say. And I'll see you in the next one.